we've come behind the scenes on the Monarch of the Glen set. I'm lucky enough to be meeting some of the stars that make this fantastic programme work.
Duncan! Hector, why don't you use the door like everyone else?
Retrospectively, I look back at my childhood and the way I was and all the things I did, and of course it was to be an actor, but I never said, oh, I'm going to be an actor.
Yeah.
But I used to sit on the shed roof for hours pretending to be Ben Murphy. Remember Alien Smith and Jones? It was all going on in my head, this movie thing, and my poor friend, who didn't have much imagination, had to sit behind me on his horse. He was clueless, he just thought he was sitting on a shed roof, but I was sort of going across the prairie working out the juxtaposition between good and evil in the Wild West.
It's kind of a dream job, isn't it?
Beautiful job, yeah. Very, very happy to be doing it, apart from the midges.
The other day I got a fan mail from India. You know, and you're just like, oh my God, like, it's just mad. And I'm getting a lot from America at the moment, so you get like, now and again you've got loads from Netherlands and you think, oh yeah, must be on there.
But whilst we were making it, we all thought that it had the right ingredients to be a very popular show.
It's a way of life, but it's doing what I love doing the most, and I'm very lucky that I'm able to work at doing something that I really, really love and enjoy it. It's my hobby as well as a career. It's absolutely wonderful, and you receive so much reward back.
Welcome one and all to this wonderful castle, Fraser. On this day, you will see such sights, my lords and ladies.
Jousting in medieval times, or very early times, would have just been a melee in a field, so they wouldn't have had any barriers and fences and flags and banners and things like that. It would have just been a battle, and very unorganised, lots of injuries. As kings and things became a lot more involved with the whole thing, so they began to bring in some rules to try and lessen the injuries. I injured myself a lot in my early days, in my early 20s when I was just sort of learning how to fall off horses and things like that. Nowadays, really 99 times out of 100 they won't hurt themselves because they know how they're going to fall off. So we're pretty safe, and although it may not look like it, pretty much everything is choreographed.
Trainspotting, more popular than Rob Roy, more popular than Treasure Island. How does that strike you?
It's quite flattering because these are the kind of books I grew up on, like sort of Robert Louis Stevenson. So I think it's always, a book that's quite contemporary has always got a bit of an advantage, particularly with younger people in these kind of sort of poles. So you can't take it too seriously. It's a test of time. It's important.
By many standards, you've achieved an awful lot. I mean, your books are recognised worldwide. You've seen those words appearing on the screen. You're now making movies yourself. What are the ambitions that you still have ahead of you?
I just want to do as best I can, bring away anything that I get into, whether it's like books, which is still going to be my priority, film or music or whatever. I mean, it's like you just want to kind of get in there, express yourself, and enjoy yourself. I mean, that's all you can hope to do.
So in 10 years' time, if I'm interviewing you, what will you be standing there proudly saying, I've achieved this in the past 10 years?
I don't know. I mean, if you're interested in talking to me in 10 years' time, that'll be an achievement in itself. I mean,
So Kenny's done the outrun, the lift and the fetch. The next thing he's going to do is to drive the sheep through the gates, and that's where the dog is pushing the sheep up through a target, in this case 2 gates. The next thing is to pen the sheep. That's to get the sheep up and put them into this pen. And the dog does the work. All that the shepherd does is to open the gate and have it on a long string and get the sheep safely penned. Good, so we've penned the sheep. The next thing is out of the pen, and now we're going to do the shed. That's to say, we're going to shed off the sheep, split them if you like. So for the shed, we have the shepherd on one side of the sheep and the dog on the other. And when the time is right, and Kenny thinks it's right, he's going to bring the dog through between the sheep, thus demonstrating the completion of the shed.
It's not a village blessed with the most inspiring of names, but it seems that Dull has suddenly become interesting. In fact, this tiny Perthshire community has not been the focus of such fascination since the 7th century, when it was one of Scotland's most important Christian centres. Now archaeologists and volunteers have come together to excavate here at Dull Parish Church and to try to uncover some of the mysteries of the past. I've come to meet Bob Wills, who's heading up the archaeological team.
We're just starting to excavate various trenches throughout the main body of the church to see if we can pick up remains of earlier buildings, earlier structures, an earlier church.
Well, it's very clear that there are skulls in clear view with full sets of teeth and everything.
Yes. There are a lot of burials within churches, but there's also, so you do get a lot of disturbance when one new burial disturbs an earlier burial that's maybe not always marked, or if there's been a long period of time between burials, so the location of each grave isn't always known. So they tend to just move the old skeleton or remains to one side and put in the new one. So you do get a lot of disturbed human remains within church, any excavations within a church.
Join me after the break when I'll be talking to biological anthropologist Paul Duffy about the nitty-gritty of the Dull Dig.
Well, I look at it myself as the beginning, really, of an exploration. That's the reason we're exploring. You don't know what you'll run into on an exploration. What the sky looks like, what the stars look like. Do they still twinkle, or are they a steady light when you get outside the atmosphere?
Easy, Tiger!
As in all things, you must make your own way through it.
Well, I look at it myself as the beginning, really.